Spider-Man Brand New Day reviews are live, and Rotten Tomatoes has a very interesting new scoring system, all in time for Sony perhaps rescuing Disney. Today we'll tell you why this might be not only the biggest movie of the summer, maybe of the year, and maybe more. It's a great day. It's a groovy day, folks. Welcome back to the Bro Channel, where we say the true things every single day, capital T, as best we can, driving the drive-bys insane. Folks, as we get ready to go, click that like button, and wouldn't you know it, it looks like Disney might be blowing it yet again. Hey, Tom Holland, are you in Doomsday or not? Don't miss the moment, Disney. This is one star who is hot on the market. Spider-Man Brand New Day reviews are now live. They're on Rotten Tomatoes, which nobody trusts anymore, but it's the only place we can go to until the film hits theaters and we get the info on places like Criticless, where we know we're getting the actual info we need. But 91% is the debut of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Let's take a look at what it's got right now. This is a film, by the way, that is on track, according to the best analysts, to go easily above $500 million for its worldwide opening, and some are saying as high as $800 million for the global. This is insane. Kyle Pinion, Screen Rex, does not like it, says it's an enormously cluttered experience. Karen M. Peterson gives it a B-, but it's a tomato. David Fear with a splat from Rolling Stone. Actually, that sells it for me. If Rolling Stone hates it, I'm gonna love it. Don't have to see anything else, but we will. But if Rolling Stone hates it, I'm all in. We've got We Live Entertainment, likes it. Neil's Entertainment Picks, likes it. I've seen a lot of 3.5s, 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10. There's a 5.5 that probably could have been a tomato, who knows? But I'm seeing a lot of tepid here. That's interesting to me. A lot of tepid. No real, like, 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. I love it. Looper.com says it's on par with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Ooh, I don't like that very much. And some websites are actually hammering the thing. IndieWire. David Elric says, Spider-Man Brand New Day review, the MCU wastes its chance for a fresh start with a dull and downbeat sequel. Oh my. Now, this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because do we trust the critics? They don't seem to like it. They're giving it enough of a score to get to 90%, but their scores are like 3s out of 5s. This thing is headed, as we say, $800 million global debut. This is the prediction that's happening right now, according to Global Box Office. $800 million, which would put it as the second biggest opening of all time. If it holds that, it's the second biggest movie of all time behind Endgame, which would be phenomenal, crazy. Panel, we've got the critics giving it just enough to get it to 90%, but I'm going to bet now that the critics are going to give it a lower score. In this world that we're in, is that good or bad for normies? Do you think that the average audience person, Carol, do you think the average audience person is going to say, I love it, because the critics don't seem to love it?
I typically, like, if Rotten Tomatoes, like, critics are like, this is a terrible movie, I'm always like, I have to see it, like, because we know that they're paid and out. I'm actually surprised they're not protecting this film. That's what's surprising me the most, because they've, like, gone over and bent over backwards to make sure that certain productions are protected, even though we come in and completely tear them apart. So I'm wondering what happened with this film, where they were like, no, we're going to make sure that it just is seen as a meh film.
Well, take a look at this. I've got the top critics up now. David Fear, splat from Rolling Stone. Mashable gives us the splat. Irish Times, 3 out of 5, tepid. Jesse Hassinger out of AV Club, B+. Okay, that's not bad. Kevin Mayer, 3 out of 5, the Times UK. Out of RogerEbert.com, Brian Tellerico gives it a 2.5 out of 4. Again, now that's enough to get it the tomato and not the splat. But look out down here. I mean, this is how close it is. Odie Henderson gives it a 2.5 out of 4. That is a splat. So the top critics don't love this film. They're giving it enough that the score looks good, but their scores are meh at best. Having not seen the film, what are we thinking about this, Vera? Is this playing out the way you were expecting?
So the thing is, and I mentioned this a couple of minutes ago, is that all of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies are above 90%. Homecoming's 92. You have Far From Home 91. No Way Home is 93, and this is now, over 90%. So it's still a really good score. But from what I have heard and what I've gathered, it's It's got really good action, but a mid story. And obviously, we haven't seen it yet, so I can't judge it for myself. But I, I think that there are a lot of normies out there who really are only going for the big action and the set pieces and maybe seeing one of their favorite actors being in it. And there's a lot of people that have been criticizing the MCU with how really confusing the story has gotten, especially with the multiverse and these different timelines and all of the different characters that could show up. But I suppose we'll see. I think that it will obviously do very good, but an 800 million opening, that's
insane.
That is insane. I don't think it'll be that high.
I doubt it as well, but even if even if it misses the 800 million and it comes in at like 600 million,
that's still crazy.
Still crazy numbers. Yeah.
Right.
Still easily in the top 5. And as we watch the reviews be just enough, just enough to give it a good score, but they still get to say, nah, I didn't like it very much. They're also playing it this way. Mark Ruffalo, not a single promotional interview for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I frankly haven't seen him do anything with Spider-Man. Marv, I think Sony's being smart here and saying, you know what, we need the Hulk, but we don't need the guy who plays the Hulk any more than we have to have him.
Mark Ruffalo is incapable of doing an interview without shooting his mouth off. And I think that, Sony understands that this is what's going to keep them afloat for the next 2 years. This film, especially an opening of this magnitude. And keeping him away from this. I mean, he is a polarizing figure. He puts a lot of people off. I've never understood how he got beyond community theater with the way that his acting ability is. I just rewatched Infinity War and Endgame over the weekend, and I'm just like, I was watching, I'm just like, he's really bad at this. Like, he's just a really bad actor. But yeah, he would go out there and he would immediately be like, well, brand new day, we need a brand new day here in America because all the environment stuff. And
right.
It would 100% be toppling everybody. But as far as these reviews go, I think a lot of times these Access Media critics want a superhero movie to be more than a superhero movie. Like, sometimes a superhero movie is just basically supposed to entertain you. That's why, like, when people are like, well, it was all just fan service, like with No Way Home. I've heard that, and I'm just like, oh no, people were happy and excited to see things that they wanted to see. I don't think there's a problem with stuff like that. So yeah, if they are meh on this, then I actually think there might be some hope for it. And they're probably meh on it because it's Sony and not Disney.
Now, you will notice, and we're discovering this live, at least I am, and maybe the rest of the panel knows about this, and I just don't. You see this thing that says new on Rotten Tomatoes? It says average of rated reviews, and you can see that now we have a new meter that shows the actual average review score for Spider-Man Brand New Day is a 7.6, which is to say that's how every other website does this except Rotten Tomatoes. You got to dig, Jonas, to find this.
Right.
But if Rotten Tomatoes is allowing this, maybe they recognize they've got a credibility problem too, and this is the solution.
They're doing the Metacritic thing, which, Metacritic was the alternative for a very long time.
Exactly.
Here's the thing that you have to remember with Rotten Tomatoes is owned by Fandango. Fandango's entire reason for existence is to make you buy movie tickets from them.
Sure.
They want you excited for these movies. That's why everything is so inflated. That's why it's just positive versus negative, and they leave the nuance out. I'm honestly shocked they put that in.
And they sacrifice the films that they know are not going to do well. That's our theory on this. They sacrifice those films, give them a terrible score, and everything else is like, hey, it's the greatest thing ever. You got to buy the ticket, of course, because they're financially motivated to do so. So, okay. Final question I've got for the panel. So if this film opens, as has been predicted by some of these analysts to open $500 million to $800 million globally, how crazy is it? How crazy is it that you've got Sony doing this and doing this well? You've got Sean Levy with Deadpool and Wolverine operating outside of the bounds of Kevin Feige. And Kevin Feige and Disney's MCU can't seem to get a win. And we're going into Avengers Doomsday. And the guy who seems to be able to like bring in these kinds of crowds, Tom Holland, reportedly not in Avengers Doomsday. Like, how are they not calling him right now and saying, Tom, we need 5 minutes?
Well,
I think he's in it.
Whoa.
You think so?
Go ahead, Vera. Yeah, no, I'll let you make your point, then I'll give you.
We've all seen the leaks. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Tom Holland is on a crazy run right now with all of the films that he's been in. And, back to back, you have The Odyssey and you have Spider-Man. So you would think that they would want that star power. And obviously, this movie has a lot of star power. It's not like there's only 2 characters that are played by notable actors. Sadie Sink is in it, Mark Ruffalo, even though he's controversial, Zendaya, you have Tom Holland. But I also thought that it was very interesting that at the premiere, they were doing a lot of material with Michael B. Jordan. That was kind of surprising to me. He was talking with Tom Holland and he was marketing the movie. So it's almost like they replaced Mark Ruffalo's sort of carpet time with him.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. I mean, Mark Ruffalo has been so abrasive that there are people who will not go because of Mark Ruffalo. In fact, I think we've still got that super chat starred, I believe. Let me see if we got that still. Nope. All right, we've got that gone. But there are people who will not go to see this. But I think, now, Marv, let's have a battle here if we need to. Friendly, of course. You've seen the leaks. I've seen the leaks. Vera, you've seen the leaks on the Doomsday. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Unless Tom Holland's in an end credit. What are you talking about, Marv?
I have heard, I have heard that the leaks that we've seen is missing about 15%. But also, remember, the leaks don't mention Sam Wilson. They don't mention Shang-Chi. They don't mention individual people. They just mention the Avengers. I think that Tom Holland, I think there is a chance that he is in this movie. He's in this movie, but he is, and goes with one of my theories for this movie. I think by the end of Brand New Day, he is wearing a costume that would be a spoiler had it been in the.
Gotcha. Understand. I know what you're talking about. Let's not go there. Just because we didn't warn people that we would do that.
Yeah. I honestly think, but then again, I could be very wrong about that, because then I think about that. The more thought I give to it, I'm like, wait, Brand New Day was supposed to come out between Doomsday and Secret Wars. So maybe I'm wrong.
Well, here's the thing. If I'm Kevin Feige, or if I'm Disney, if I'm Josh Tomorrow, I don't want to be Dana Walden, but if I was, if I see these kinds of numbers and I know that I've got to save the day for Doomsday, like this is a big deal. This is, does the Disney version of the MCU live or die? Carol, I'm calling Tom and I'm saying, I don't care what it takes. I don't care if we have to buy your mother a seafood dinner. I don't care what it takes. We are going to get you in Doomsday with us, 5 minutes, whatever it takes.
So the only thing I want to add really quickly to, Marv's point is that they had done reshoots to add humor and expand a villain storyline. So they changed when the movie released, because like you mentioned, it was supposed to release between these other movies. They did reshoots to add villain storylines and humor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. And by the way, when I said with my prediction, that's just my personal prediction. I don't have any inside information. That's just what I gathered from the trailers is what I think is going to happen, but I could be very wrong. So,
Carol, your thoughts on if Disney had any sense in their heads, they would be like Tom Holland would get 15, 20 minutes in the next movie just so he can be in the marketing.
I mean, that would be nice, but one thing that Tom said to Tom, like I know him, I've never met him.
Just call him by his middle name, Tommy.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Good old Tumbo.
Yeah, but one thing he said is that he is actually paying attention to what the fans are saying, and he's getting kind of picky about when he wants to be in films or not. So if he's not in this film, I'm gonna wonder if it's the studio or if he opted out of it.
Which is so fun because he was the little teenager, who they were afraid was going to say something inappropriate. So it's fun to watch him become like he's Bill Murray. You got to call his voicemail and leave a message, and maybe somebody will get back with you someday. Leave a handwritten note. It must be in cursive, et cetera, et cetera. But he's the biggest star in Hollywood right now. I think he's bigger than Chris Pratt. I would have said previously maybe Chris Pratt, maybe Tom Cruise, but I think Tom Holland's the biggest of all of them right now.
He also likes to leak information, so they're definitely telling him, be careful with what you say.
He's very likable. That's one of the things. He's, even though he's risen up as a star, he's not like gone like the deranged way, like some people who've been in films before. He tries to stay grounded. And he's such a super nerd. Like, you should listen to him talk about Final Fantasy sometimes. I'm kind of like, man, he's like my people. Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
Wait,
honestly, after
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, he actually was one in the promo for Final Fantasy 14. Shadowbringers.
So he likes the 3D ones. Never mind.
After this summer, I think that Tom Holland, or as Carol calls him, T. Holla, is going to end up being the biggest box office star in Hollywood for the next year at the very least, because with the Odyssey and this, he will have the pedigree for that. I 100% believe it. But here's the other thing. Tom Holland has said in interviews, he does not like Hollywood. He doesn't go to the parties. He's not associating with them. He's not part of that machine. Him and Zendaya, I mean, look at the difference between how him and Zendaya got married in secret. Nobody found out they were married for like a year, and juxtapose that with like Taylor Swift renting Madison Square Garden for her wedding.
Legend has it Zendaya rode a chocobo up to the altar.
They are not Hollywood people.
I'd like to see that.
Is my point though. So like, I actually would support him being more prominent in Hollywood because he's not going to play the game.
Well, he's winning at the game, whether he plays the game or not. Folks, we'll see how this goes. But yet another time that Disney, by the way, I'll say this as we wrap it up. Disney's had an awful time at the box office. This is not their movie. This is Sony's. But Disney, because it's Marvel, gets a cut of the profits. If this film makes $800 million globally on its opening, if it goes on to get a 2.5x and crosses the $2 billion mark, this film they didn't make will lift Disney into profitability, even though they had nothing to do with the thing. How crazy is that? Go Tom Holland, or as Carol calls him, T. Holla Holla. You know, when you stick around for the entire video, it really does help the channel. And we're so appreciative of that, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine that you would stick around and hear everything we have to say. The studio is glistening because you're listening each and every day. If you're not yet subscribed, well, you should be. And click that like button. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.